sure to check out Agelessgeeks for your figures and collectibles. This video and YouTube channel is rated PG-13, so that means this channel is not for anyone under the age of 13.
So what is going on, my fellow collectors? How is everybody doing today? Daredevil18 here, and it is that time of the year where everybody does their top 10 favorite things of 2019 list, and for figure reviewers, we usually do top 10 favorite figures of 2019, which is what this video is here. And it was a fantastic year for action figures in 2019. There were so many good releases. Each year this list keeps getting more and more difficult to make, and let me just mention this right off the bat. These are just my own personal favorite figures of the year. I'm not saying they're the best figures of the year. I'm not going to have your favorite figures on here. I'm going to probably have some of your favorite figures on here. This is just my personal favorite figures of the year. I'm not saying they are the best figures of 2019. They're Daredevil 19's personal favorite figures of 2019. So keep that in mind as I am doing this list here. And also, I did make a video for you to vote for your top 5 or top 10 favorite figures of 2019. I will put the link in the description below for that video so you can vote for your favorite figures of the year, and then I will tally up all the votes and go through which figures got the most votes and make a top 10 list. So don't forget to vote. The link to that video is in the description below. So let's start it off here, as we usually do with these types of videos, with some honorable mentions. And I have technically, 13 figures? Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 figures there. Technically, that Capture of Splinter set is, I'm considering it one, but it is 3 different figures. So there is 14 honorable mentions I do have here, and we'll start on the left. So all the way on the left there, we do have the Mezco 112 Collective Netflix Punisher, and I love that figure, man. It's the best, for me, I think it's the best John Bernthal Punisher figure that is around. Mezco's articulation isn't my favorite, but he still does have some decent movement. The body armor where the Punisher logo is does restrict some of that torso articulation, so that does suck, but I love the jacket that they included with bendy wire throughout it. He is included with a decent amount of accessories, and the figure just overall is a really nice figure, and that's why I put him on the honorable mentions list. Did not make my top 10 list though. Then next to him we have the SH Figure Arts Great Saiyaman with a custom cloth cape that was made by my fiance that are for sale right now. But that Saiyaman figure is a great figure, man. A lot of fun, different. You have a bunch of different posing and display options, and just a really cool figure, and really was, I think, one of the best figures that did release this year. Then next to him, jumping in the air there, we do have the Mafex comic version Spider-Man. This was a very highly anticipated figure for a lot of collectors, and Mafex for me did not disappoint. Some people weren't too happy with it, but I think they did an awesome job with that Spider-Man, and it is my favorite. Well, maybe it's not my favorite Spider-Man figure in my collection, but for a regular version Spider-Man, then it is my favorite Spider-Man figure in my collection. Then below him, who's kind of getting hit in the head by Spider-Man's knee right there, we have the Mafex Chapter 2 John Wick with his dog there. And out of both John Wicks by Mafex, that one is definitely my favorite. They did a dope job with both of them, but personally I liked this one a little bit more because you get a few more accessories with the figure. Pretty much same figure as the first Mafex John Wick. I think the face sculpts look much better on this one as well. Then next to him in the back there, who is almost blending in with my white background, we have the SH Figure Arts Super Boo, and great figure, man. Really, really cool figure by Tamashii Nations. It's a unique sculpt from head to toe, so I was really happy about that. It has some pretty good articulation and accessories as well, but that figure turned out so much better than I did originally anticipate. And then in front of him, we do have the Storm Collectibles Baraka, and really glad we finally got a Baraka. I think Storm did a dope job with the figure. I wasn't happy that they put his blades more like on the bottom of his forearm, where there should be more on the top of his forearm, so I wasn't too happy about that, but it is a really cool, fun figure to have. Then next to him, in the back, we do have the Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Gambit, and we haven't had a Gambit figure in God knows how long. I think since like 2005 we haven't had a good 6-inch scale Gambit figure, and Revoltech came through with a really cool Gambit figure. Just for me, I hate the coat, man. I hate when they do that with coats and capes. It's so crappy, man, and that coat is the reason why he did not make my list, because those, I hate hard plastic articulated coats and capes. To me they're just awful. But the figure is really cool. You get a good amount of Gambit accessories, and you have a bunch of different posing and display options with him. Then in front of him we do have the SH Figuarts 2.0 Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta from the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, which is probably my favorite Vegeta figure now in my collection. Tamashii Nations did a dope job with it, and it's pretty much like the 2.0 Super Saiyan Vegeta, just slightly different, you know what I mean? But I really do like that figure a lot there. And then the 4 bunched in the back there, that is the NECA original movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle capture of Splinter set. So we do have Splinter, of course, Shredder, and 2 foot soldiers, and really happy that NECA keeps making these sets, and eventually they do sell them individually on GameStop. But I love that they keep continuing with their original movie team and T-Line. The Turtles were beyond fantastic, and that Shredder and Splinter and foot soldier set is almost just as awesome, man. They did such a great job with all 4 of those figures, and I hope they make at least one more set for the original movie, because we still need April, Casey Jones, they can make Tatsu in it, and they could even throw Danny in it, you know what I mean? So I hope they at least do one more set for the original movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle line, and then hopefully they'll move on to the Secret of the Ooze line. And that set was so close to making my top 10 favorite figures of 2019 list, but there was just, like I said, so many good releases. There was 10 other figures that I liked a lot more than that set. And then in front of them we do have the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Super Broly movie version Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, which is a fantastic figure. He does come with basic type accessories, but it's an all-around fun figure, man. I think Tamashii Nations did a dope job with that Gogeta. And then finally, all the way on the right there, we do have the Mezco 112 Silver Knight Batman, which probably is my favorite Batman figure in my collection. Plus, when I put the custom cape my fiance makes for the Batman figures, it just really excelled the figure that much more to me. But he is included with a ton of accessories. The articulation's pretty basic for Mezco, and the suit, what they were showing us was different in the promo images and when we would see it on display, and then when we got it, the suit was different, kind of like what they did with their red suit Daredevil. So wasn't really happy about that, but I still do dig the suit that they gave that Batman. So that is a bunch of my honorable mentions. Now let's move on to my top 10 favorite figures of 2019, and starting it off with number 10. Alright, so coming in at number 10 is a figure I've wanted in the SH Figuarts line since they started the SH Figuarts Star Wars line. This is by no means one of the best figures of 2019. This is just one of my favorite figures that did release this year, because, like I said, I've been wanting a Yoda in the SH Figuarts line for God knows how long. I don't even know when they started the line, but Yoda is, him and Darth Maul are my all-time favorite Star Wars characters, and the Mandalorian is becoming one of them as well. So when they finally announced Yoda and finally released him for the size of this figure in a 6-inch scale line, what is he, like 2.5, 3 inches or something like that, they really did do a nice job with the figure. As we saw with their Rocket Raccoon, they did a good job with that figure as well, and this Yoda turned out really nice. And I love that they did the prequel Yoda instead of the original trilogy movie Yoda. I do prefer the prequel Yoda, and that version, he comes with better accessories, you know what I mean, like his lightsaber and all that stuff. But they do give you a bunch of different posing and display options, so you're not just stuck with this figure in the same pose. And he has some decent articulation for the size of the figure as well. The face sculpts are just unbelievably fantastic. Looks just like how Yoda did in the prequel trilogy as well. So definitely had to throw Yoda on my list because, like I said, he is pretty much one of my all-time favorite characters from pretty much anything. You know what I mean? And he is my favorite Star Wars character along with Darth Maul as well. So I definitely had to throw this figure on my top 10 favorite figures of 2019, coming in at number 10. Now coming in at number 9. And coming in at number 9 is the Mafex Aquaman movie version Aquaman, and Mafex really stepped it up compared to their Justice League Aquaman with this figure here. He is included with 2 interchangeable heads, a few alternate hands, his trident, and I believe that's it. So some basic Aquaman type accessories, but I mean the figure is a phenomenal looking figure. His suit, with his more classic looking suit that we did see towards the end of the movie, looks incredible in figure form, and Mafex really just made the figure pop with how his suit looks with the different greens and the orange and the gold there. So really love the way this figure turned out. It does have some really nice articulation, and it's a much heavier figure compared to what we usually get from Mafex, so I was kind of thrown off by that, but it feels like a real durable figure because of the heft to it. But like I said, the detail throughout it is fantastic. The face sculpts, I think, look more like Momoa compared to their Justice League version Aquaman. The accessories, like I said, pretty basic for an Aquaman type figure, I guess. And then the articulation is pretty well done on it. Not the best articulation, but you could still get him in some badass poses, like this one right here, which was my favorite pose he did do in the movie, which is the pose I do have him displayed in on my shelf. So that is figure number 9 on my top 10 favorite figures of 2019 list. Now let's move on to figure number 8. And coming in at number 8 was a figure I actually was not going to put on this list, but the more I thought of it, the more I realized how much of an awesome figure this is and how much I do really dig this figure, and that is the Mafex Infinity War Iron Spider-Man. And when Mafex first announced this, everybody was just relieved at how much more accurate and how better of a figure this looks compared to SH Figuarts' first version. Now, if you look at SH Figuarts 2.0 version, it looks very, very similar to the Mafex version here. You kind of can't tell if you look at both figures side to side, so it looks like Figuarts is kind of copying off Mafex, but Mafex really did a beautiful job with this figure. They straight up knocked it out of the park with this Iron Spider-Man. It's very accurate. He has a more shiny look to his suit, which he should, because he did in the movies. And just the detail throughout the figure and the Waldos just look incredible, man. They did a superb job from head to toe with this figure. So the detail, no question about it, it's definitely exceptional and very well done throughout the entire figure. The accessories are also awesome as hell. You could have them with the Waldos, without the Waldos. You do get some webbing. The webbing I do have them with is from Mezco, though. Mezco makes my favorite type of webbing for a Spider-Man figure, so that's why I have it with this figure here. And then he's also included with interchangeable hands. I believe he's included with an interchangeable head as well, with different sized eyes. I can't remember actually. And then he is also included with magnetic hands and feet, which is always a plus. And of course, you do get to stand with every Mafex figures. So the accessories, definitely awesome. There was an issue with the figure. A lot of people did experience tons of breaks with their Waldos, including myself. 3 of mine did break on me, but Mafex made an announcement. They redid their Waldos, and they sent them out to retailers to send out to the buyers who got the figure and ended up with broken Waldos. So I respect Mafex even that much more for them doing that. They fixed their mistake, and they did it rather quickly too, so I really do respect and appreciate them for doing that with this figure. And then also the articulation, also outstanding on the figure. You can almost get him in pretty much any type of Spider-Man type poses, and the better the articulation, the more fun a figure is going to be. And of course, the more accessories, the more display options as well. And that's why he came in at number 8 on my top 10 favorite figures of 2019 list. Now let's move on to number 7. And coming in at number 7 is the Mafex comic version Deadpool. And personally for me, I think this is the definitive comic version Deadpool in 6-inch scale. It's an all-around fun figure, great articulated figure. The detail, I think, was done extremely well from head to toe. The accessories are awesome, man. You have a ton of different accessories with this figure, but the main issue a lot of people, including myself, did have with this figure is they did give him trigger finger hands, but they gave him no damn guns. They couldn't even at least give us 2, like, Glocks or something like that with Deadpool. Like, come on, Mafex. You couldn't have included any type of guns with the figure. I mean, they gave us the trigger finger hands, and I'm sure, I know I do myself, I'm sure most collectors do have extra guns for their figures laying around, so it really wasn't that big of a deal, you know what I mean? Because who doesn't have extra guns to give to a figure that isn't included with guns, you know what I mean? I have a ton of guns from other figures that I could use with this figure. Like this gun here is from my Mezco blade, so it really wasn't that big of an issue because they did at least give us the trigger finger hands, but they definitely could have included at least 2 small handguns with Deadpool, you know what I mean? But you do get a ton of interchangeable hands. You get some interchangeable belt buckles, interchangeable heads, and then you do get his swords, of course, with the sheaths. So he's definitely included with a ton of accessories, so you have a bunch of different display options with the figure there. And then the articulation was also handled very well on this figure. My only issue is the hip joints are way too tight, so it is very scary articulating his hips there. But besides that, he does have some great articulation from head to toe, and that's why he came in at number 7 on my top 10 favorite figures of 2019 list. Now coming in at number 6. And coming in at number 6 is a figure line I always have to throw in my top 10 favorite figures of 2019 list, man, because NECA just always does a superb job with their Predator figures, and this was hands down my favorite Predator that they released in 2019, and it's my favorite Predator figure in my NECA Predator collection, and that is Golden Angel. And if you didn't know, he is the elder Predator from the movie Predator 2. This is just him younger, you know what I mean? It's from the old comic that they did of Elder Predator when he was younger, and NECA just knocked it out of the park with this figure, and I think this is one of their best Predator figures that they have ever made in their damn line, and they're about to hit their 100th Predator figure very, very soon. This one, I just love the yellow and the green for the skin tone. I dig the gold armor. His accessories are awesome. We get the sword, you have his wrist blades, you do get his smart disc, you do get the flintlock pistol as well, which has a important story to it, which is from the comic where you see him young like this. So really glad that that is included with the figure as well. But the detail on this, just 10 out of 10, man. They did an outstanding job with the detail throughout this figure here. The accessories are awesome as hell too. You get 2 different biomask head sculpts, and you do get the unmasked one as well. I don't think we've ever gotten 3 different head sculpts with a NECA Predator figure. And like I said, you get the sword, flintlock pistol, his smart disc, interchangeable hands, and I think that's it. You might get another thing or 2. I just can't think of it off the top of my head right there. And of course you get the wrist blades that slide out and retract as well. So you do get a ton of awesome accessories with Golden Angel here. And then the articulation, it's basic Predator articulation. It is the updated Predator articulation I think that they first worked in 2017, and it works really well on Golden Angel here. You can get them in some really nice poses, man, and most their Predators now, especially the Ultimate Editions, you can get them in some pretty cool poses. NECA has come a very long way from what they used to give us, which were practically statues, till they started working in articulation and working in better and better articulation to where we are at now. So definitely had to throw a Golden Angel on my list because, like I said, I personally think this is one of NECA's best Predator figures in their entire line, and that's why he came in at number 6 on my top 10 favorite figures of 2019 list. Now let's move on to my top 5 with number 5. And coming in at number 5 is actually 3 different figures, and they are all the same exact figure, which is the Storm Collectibles Cyrax, Sector, and Cyborg Smoke. And all these figures are just freaking awesome as hell. Like I said in my reviews of Cyrax and Cyborg Smoke, I don't know if my Sector review is going up first before this video or after, but these are my favorite, well, my top favorite characters in Mortal Kombat, along with Raiden and Kenshi. So when they announced these and finally released them, I was so damn happy, man, and I really was not disappointed with these figures. Yeah, there's some paint rub, and my Sector does have a chunk of paint taken out on that beautiful red paint on the torso right there, so wasn't happy about that. But really, besides that, these are extremely fun figures. My favorite out of all of them is definitely Sector, because he is included with the coolest accessories. I feel like Cyrax was a bit gypped with accessories. Even Smoke has some really cool accessories as well, but the detail on all 3 of these figures are beautifully done. I love the paint that they used for each of their colors, the yellow, red, and the purpley bluish there, and I just love the way the black and the silver looks with their colors as well. I love the cable dreads. I love the way their masks or helmets look. Just really cool looking character designs and awesome looking figures, man. Like I said, with Cyrax, I feel like he was gypped big time with accessories. Even with the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, you get that one accessory, but still, I feel like he got gypped with accessories, man. Smoke and Sector have some really cool accessories, especially Sector, man. So you have a lot of fun display options with these figures, and you can swap the accessories with each figure since they are all the same exact figure. And the articulation, really well done on these figures, man. You can get them in some awesome poses, so the posing options are extremely fun as well, and that's why all 3 of these came in at number 5 on my top 10 favorite figures of 2019 list. So now coming in at number 4. And coming in at number 4 was one of my most anticipated figures of 2019, and it did not disappoint, and that is the Mafex comic version Venom. I know a lot of people didn't like this look of Venom, but this is the first appearance of Venom here, which I did understand and made me like the figure even more, because this is the Venom I do remember as a kid. So when Mafex announced this and it finally released, man, I was so damn happy, and like I said, it did not disappoint. And he is a really well-made figure. Mafex has come a long way, man. They used to make really bad stuff with constant QC issues, but like I said, they came a very long way. That's why a lot of Mafex figures made it on my top 10 favorite figures of 2019 here. So Venom here, I think the detail was done really well. Yeah, it's a very plain looking figure, but they added that bluish color in with the black, which looks pretty good. I didn't like how it looked on the knee joints, because the knee joints are straight up that blue, so it looks a bit odd compared to the thighs and the lower legs there, you know what I mean? But besides that, I think the white for the eyes and the spider symbol turned out really well. Very clean paint all throughout that, even on the teeth as well. And the accessories are pretty cool too. They gave us a few alternate head sculpts. You have one with the open mouth, and then the Eddie Brock head sculpt. You get some alternate hands, and you do get some magnetic hands and feet as well. And then you do get some webbing, of course, which I really dig the way the webbing turned out for this Venom here. And then of course you do get the Mafex stand, so he's definitely included with a ton of awesome accessories. And then the articulation is really good on this figure. Mafex knows how to give us good articulation on figures, and this Venom does not suffer from bad articulation. He has some really good movement, and you can get him in a bunch of fun poses. That's why Eddie Brock here came in at number 4 on my top 10 favorite figures of 2019 list. And now moving on to my top 3 favorite figures of the year. And coming in at number 3 is the Mezco 112 Collective Blade. Now, Blade is one of my all-time favorite Marvel characters, and nobody has given us a really good Blade figure. And then here comes Mezco announcing this sick Blade figure, man. This thing is so damn awesome. Yeah, it has basic Mezco articulation, but what a cool figure, man. I really love what Mezco did with this Blade here. That bike is not included with Blade. That is a separate toy there, which I did review on my channel. So in case you're thinking, hey, how come my Blade wasn't included with that bike? But yeah, the Blade I think turned out great, man. That head sculpt is perfect. That captures Blade right there. I love the way the fangs look, how angry he looks, all the sunglasses you get. It's just an awesome figure. To me, as of now, this is the definitive comic version Blade figure. The detail beautifully done throughout the entire figure from head to toe. The clothing turned out really well also. I love his leather jacket that they gave you as well, how it has the red lining on the inside. I love the way that looks. Just awesome detail and craftsmanship on the clothing here. And the accessories is what really excels this figure for me. He's included with so much cool stuff and perfect Blade type stuff. You get a couple guns with him, the shotgun, and then the gun that I had Deadpool with before. You get gun effects for both of them. He's included with his sword and his sheath, as you can see there. The leather trench coat is a separate accessory, which is awesome, and it's wired as well, so that's a big plus also. And it can actually zipper up. I know a lot of people didn't like how chunky the zipper tab looked, but hey, man, I don't know what you expect on a 6-inch scale figure. If you want an actual zipper to work, the zipper tab is going to be a little bigger, you know what I mean? And then he is also included with his, I forgot what they're called, those two bladed weapons. You do holster them right here, and that is a very iconic Blade weapon there. He's included with the metal stakes that you can holster on his left thigh, which I don't know if you could see it through the camera there, but it's on his left thigh over there, 3 of them. And then they did include another set of three of them, so you get 6 of them actually. You get alternate hands, of course, and then you get 2 interchangeable head sculpts. So you have a basic face, which I will never use on this figure because this open mouth angry face sculpt is phenomenal, man. That's the perfect Blade expression right there. And you get 4 pairs of sunglasses. And if I missed anything, there's also the stand. I don't think I missed anything. I think that's everything he's included with. And I don't know what else you could have included with Blade here to make the figure even better, but like I said, he is included with so many accessories. The display options are almost endless with this figure, man, with all those damn accessories. And I love when Mezco gives us that many accessories with a figure. You make the figure so much better when you do that, Mezco. And then the articulation, like I said, it's pretty basic Mezco articulation, so you can get him in some pretty good poses. So Mezco isn't known for having the best articulation, but like I said, it's their basic articulation with a figure, man. But this Blade is just so damn awesome, man. He definitely had to make my top 3 favorite figures of the year, and that's why he came in at number 3. Now moving on to number 2. And coming in at number 2 is some figures not from an official figure company like SH Figure Arts or Storm Collectibles or Mafex. This is from the third-party company Dawson Model. And when they first announced that they're making a frickin' Kenshin figure, I lost my shit, man. I was so damn happy that some figure company was making us a updated 6-inch scale Kenshin, and he's not technically 6-inch scale. I feel like he's more of the 7-inch scale line, which probably was my biggest issue with the figure. I feel like they made him too tall for 6-inch scale, but they weren't really scaling the figure with any other figures, you know what I mean? So you can't really knock on them for that. But when they announced it and I saw they gave him cloth goods instead of sculpted plastic, I was even more hyped about that, because there's no other way to make a Kenshin figure if you don't use cloth goods, man, because of how baggy his clothing is. He wears samurai type clothing, so the best way to do that on a figure is using cloth goods. And man, did it work out so damn good, man. That was the perfect choice that they made for Kenshin here, giving him cloth goods for his samurai outfit. It just looks great, man. And the cloth material they use doesn't feel cheap. It feels really good too, man. As I really like the cloth material they use. Kind of feels like silky in a way, but not, you know what I mean? And it looks pretty natural too, you know what I mean? And they did do two versions. As you can see, we have the regular Kenshin Hamura right here, and this I believe was supposed to be Batosai when he was still a killer. And I actually gave him one of the articulated icon swords because I didn't want him having the reverse blade there. But some people could argue the fact that this might be a different version of Kenshin, where Karu gave him a different color top to wear. So that could be it too. That's why he had the scar and his ponytail wasn't as high up, and they gave him a reverse blade. So maybe he is the Kenshin Hamura who stopped killing. So. But, I mean, both figures are awesome. I personally like this one better because that's the Kenshin I like better when he stopped killing. But enough of me talking about that. The detail on these figures are really, really well done, actually. And, like I said, the cloth clothing was handled extremely well. The face sculpts look great. I love the way the hair turned out also. And then even his samurai sandals turned out pretty good as well. I love all the folded creases in the pants. And even the belt piece, you can untie it, and I actually cut mine and then glued the pieces down there so it doesn't unravel, and that does look more accurate how his belt looks instead of it tied right there, even though it's blocked by his sleeve. They gave you a piece of elastic around the waist so you could fit the sheath in there, and the accessories are awesome. They give you a ton of alternate facial expressions, which is a huge plus, and if you get both figures, you do get the same facial expressions, but the eyes on some of them are swapped, you know what I mean? Like the basic face here came with this figure and he's looking off to the right, but the basic face that came with this one, he's looking straight ahead. So you have the eyes looking different ways, so you actually have more alternate faces between the two figures. And then of course you do get his reverse blade with the sheath, and then you do get a shorter sword that can fit into the sheath because you can't put the actual sword into the sheath there. And then he is also included with alternate hands and a couple of stands as well. So he's definitely included with a ton of awesome stuff. So you have a lot of different display options with the figure. And then the articulation also makes this figure so much damn fun. I mean, look at the pose I got him in right here. The posing options with this figure is endless, man. They worked in the articulation beautifully on this figure. So you can get him into pretty much any Kenshin Hamura like poses. It's just an all-around great fun figure, and that's why it came in at number 2 on my top 10 favorite figures of 2019 list. Now, moving on to number 1, and some of you might have guessed what it could be already. And coming in at number 1, yeah, I cheated a little bit because it technically is 2 figures. It is the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Super Broly movie versions. Full Power Broly and Saiyan Armor Broly. I forgot what that form is called right there, but Tamashii Nations straight up knocked it out of the park with both of these figures. And the new version of Broly I love so much as a character, and Tamashii Nations did not disappoint me with these figures at all, man. They really did an outstanding job with both of them. I'm so happy they made both versions. I thought we were just getting this version, and then they randomly announced this version, which is my favorite version of Broly in the new Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. And I'm really excited to see that Broly arc in part 2 of Dragon Ball Super. But like I said, man, Tamashii Nations did an outstanding job on both these figures. Like I said, the one on the left is my favorite, but both of them are equally as awesome, man. The detail on both these figures are incredible. The face sculpts are some of the best face sculpts I've seen on an SH Figuarts Dragon Ball figure. Just the sculpting and the paintwork from head to toe was done really well, man. I just wish they added like a wash on the ear or the pelt of his buddy on the planet that he was from. I wish they added a little bit of shading on that piece there. But besides that, like I said, the detail from head to toe turned out really nice. The hair sculpts are some of my favorite hair sculpts in the SH Figure Arts Dragon Ball line as well. Now the accessories, you don't really get a bunch, especially with this guy. You get a few more things with this version of Broly, but you get a few alternate faces, which, like I said, they're some of the best face sculpts I've seen in the SH Figure Arts Dragon Ball line, and this Broly here is included with multiple alternate head sculpts. And the issue a lot of people had with this Broly here is they gave us the powered down version, and the powered down version, he is not this big. They should have made a separate version for the powered down version of Broly instead of just throwing in the head sculpt with this figure. Yeah, it's appreciated that they threw it in, but it's not accurate, you know what I mean? They do give us a regular Super Saiyan hair sculpt, and then we do get this one as well. And then you only get one face sculpt with each hair sculpt. Now the powered down one does come with a basic stern face that you can swap with this head sculpt as well, so you technically have two head sculpts with the black hair, but you get one head sculpt for the Super Saiyan hair. And then all you get with the Broly figures is some alternate hands, so you really don't get a ton of stuff with these figures. Oh yeah, and with this Broly you do get the necklace piece that his father uses to calm him down, so you can remove that if you want as well. But like I said, you don't get a ton of accessories with the figures, but with how big they are, it's kind of understandable, but I think they could have threw in a few more things with these figures. And then the articulation, I think the articulation was really well done on these figures as well. I do like the articulation a little bit more on this Broly here. You do have to be careful with this green piece because it does rub up on the lower torso. As you can see, it damaged mine a little bit on there, but you do pretty much get identical articulation between the two figures. You do get a little bit better movement with this guy though, but overall they are great figures, and I think they are some of the best SH Figure Arts Dragon Ball figures in the line to date, and that's why these guys came in at number 1 on my top 10 favorite figures of 2019 list. But anyway guys, that is my video of my personal favorite figures of the year. Now, don't get mad if I didn't mention any figures on here. These are just some of my personal favorite figures that released in 2019. Everybody has their own list, their own personal favorite figures that released in the year. And like I said, I did make a video for you to vote for what your top 10 or top 5 favorite figures of 2019 are. Be sure to vote on that video there, because I'm always curious to see what everybody else votes for with their favorite figures of the year. But anyway, that is my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to support the channel, don't forget to subscribe and click on that notification bell. And if you liked it, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, oh well, I guess you didn't like it. But thanks for watching. I will see you later. Oh yeah, and I'm going to be doing a top 25 favorite figures of the decade list as well.